You're listening to episode 111 of the Super League Pod, coming up on your favourite rugby league podcast. We've got all your feedback and shout-outs. We've got all your news from around the world of rugby league. We'll be looking back at the Challenge Cup semi-finals and previewing the first round of Super 8's play. So strap yourselves in, kids. It's time for the Super League Pod. Okay, hello everyone. It's Monday night on the Fylde Coast. If you're listening to us, you're not listening to us live, are you? Why would I even think that? How long have we been doing this podcast for?
Like 2.5 years.
Alright, well, it's Monday night on the Fylde Coast as we start to record episode 111 of the Super League Pod. My name's Tom, and as always I'm joined in the podcast studio by Wigan fan Mr. Mark Illingworth. Mark, how's it going? How's your week been?
Fine.
No, we'll try and stay G'd up a little bit. We'll get to the semi-final defeat in a bit, but apart from rugby league, how's your week been? What have you been up to?
Not much sleep. Not much normal sleep.
Right.
Disruption of sleep pattern. One of my friends had like a housewarming party on Saturday. So like all my friends from school sort of thing, we're all still in touch and that, so it was just that. So
was it like a bit of a regression to kind of teenage house party style stuff, or?
Not necessarily, just a regression to being drunk. Emma walked into a patio door. That was pretty funny.
Oh, was Emma pissed?
Yeah.
Great stuff.
That was pretty funny.
Yes.
And
she okay before I left, wasn't it?
She's a bit soft, isn't she? So, you know, any minor discomfort becomes a major one in her eyes. But
right.
She's fine, and as long as I don't, like, bang her on the nose, she's right.
That's a very good attitude to have, Mark.
Yeah.
That's very positive. Well done.
What about yourself?
It's been a great week. I've had a lovely time. I don't have a hangover to get over today, so I'm feeling pretty good about that. But I've done basically the opposite of you, where you've had your debauched debauched, childless, carefree weekend. I've had my little girl to look after, which has been amazing. We did the kite festival in St Anne's, which was
explain?
Tremendous. Well, it's a festival of kites, Mark, and what happens is that these enormous. I know it's as simple.
I don't know why I'm so baffled by this kite festival.
I don't know why you. But what happens is that every year
I've been to it.
Right, so you know, but they're enormous. I've posted some pictures on Facebook just as a matter of course, which some of our listeners will have seen because they follow me on there. But I'll tweet some out just to sort of emphasise what I'm talking about. Hundreds of massive kites in all sorts of shapes and sizes, animals and things and people and stuff, just set off on the beach in St Anne's, and there was a fair, and there was live music. It was really good.
Like, is it a competition? Do they have? Can you just walk along with your own kite, or do you have to tell them in advance you're putting a kite up?
No, I don't really know, but I didn't see anything that led me to believe it was a competition. I think it was more like, you know, come and look at all these big ass kites. Yeah, exactly. And it wasn't just boring sort of, you know, diamond shaped kites up in the sky. And you could buy your own and stuff, and I did in the end for Erin buy her a little kite that we went out and did on Sunday on our own, which was brilliant. But the kite festival was awesome, and she adored it. It's not something I've gone to on my own, but she really enjoyed it. And then we went to see Finding Dory on Sunday afternoon, which was lovely. It's just, I mean, I've always get like impressed by the Pixar stuff anyway, because it's, to me, so clever how they do that with the computers. But then they, you know, get the emotion going, and it's a brilliant film, and especially if you've got, you know, kids of a certain age like I have, then, you know, it's well worth going to see. So that's been my weekend, mate. So I'm doing it all right.
Yeah.
So, right.
And of course we saw each other for hours upon hours on Friday night.
We did.
We'll get to that later
We did. We'll talk about all that. I think I probably enjoyed the experience more than you did, but we'll talk about that later on in the show. Who's been getting in touch with us then this week, Mark?
Not tons. But we will start with Sarah McKenzie at Scoots28Mac. If you want to follow her on Twitter, if you do, then you get to see some pictures of her and the family at the semi-final.
You do?
Last week. She says, the problem with school holidays is no child-free time during the day to listen to Super League Pod. Just finished now, another good show.
Well, that's all right. You can... I was watching a thing, I think I saw it on Huffington Post, and it was a documentary, or like a joke thing that was going around, about women who sneak off to the loo to have, like, a secret bottle of Chardonnay that they're working on while they're looking after screaming kids. Maybe we could be Scoots' secret Chardonnay, and she can, occupy the kids in front of a cartoon and then nip off to the bathroom and furtively listen to our dulcet tones, Mark. What do you think?
Just introduce the kids to swearing.
Yeah, that's it. They
may as well school in Hull, they're going to...
To be honest, they go to school in Hull, Mark, they probably know more swear words than I do. Maybe we need to listen to them. Maybe that's the way to do it.
Well, I don't want to listen to Scoots' kid, because he has, rather... mean things to say about one of my heroes.
Oh, does he really?
Did you see the tweet she sent us about Pat Richards missing a goal kick being her son's favourite memory from his career?
Well,
everyone's entitled. She wants to encourage them to be more positive about the outlook they have on life, rather than look at other people's misfortunes and moments of downtime. That's what I would suggest.
Poor lad. He didn't even listen to the show.
Do you know what? I'll skip this one that we've got next to go to the third one down, and then we'll go back because Dom Hodgson got in touch at the Hodge. He said, "Can we have a new section for #Mark's parenting tips?" The iPad suggestion was gold. Yeah, I didn't even mean to segue into that with the let your kids learn swear words suggestion.
But there you go. #Mark's parenting tips.
There you go.
It's up the weekend. You're getting a few little hashtags at the minute, aren't you? You've got #Mark rants.
Yeah, that's going nowhere, is it?
Mark parenting tips, exactly. I don't know if we'll see a rant today. I feel like you might be sufficiently kind of docile to.
Am I ever sufficiently?
Well, I don't know. You seem pretty.
I haven't planned one this week. Let's put it that way.
You seem pretty unenthused today.
So if one does happen this week, it's genuinely off the cuff.
Not that I've egged you into it. Fair enough. Okay, who else then?
Right, Paul Michael Craig got in touch at PaulMac_78. If you want to follow him on Twitter, I would encourage you to do that too. He said, "Would this team of NRL-based Poms beat a Super League team of Englishmen? #English origin." And the team is thrown together. A few of these names are obviously those.
Yeah, there's some asterisks next to some
heritage that we don't necessarily know if they turn up for England. But let's it's Blake Austin at fullback, Eden and Burgess on the wings with Reid and Hardacre in the centres, Widdop and Hodkinson in the halves, George Burgess and James Graham your starting props, Josh Hodgson at hooker, Mike Cooper, Elliot Whitehead and Sam Burgess in the back row, and then on the bench you've got Chris McQueen, Chris Hannington, Tom Burgess and Tyrone McCarthy.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good side, and I quite like putting fantasy 17s together. There are, like I said, there's a few asterisks we don't know about the intentions of Blake Austin, and in fact, you and I were talking about that on Friday evening, weren't they? That if he does play for England, he might only do it once or twice because
if he goes
to play Origin next year, then he won't be able to again, will he?
No, and I'm sure he'll see Origin as the rep level that he wants to be at more regularly than necessarily playing for England.
I was too. And then obviously we don't know about Chris McQueen, and I'm not sure if Chris Hannington is even in.
Well, Chris Hannington, you put a line through that. I mean, where he plays, we've got better options, younger options, fitter options.
Yes, yeah. I appreciate that this is England.
Tyrone McCarthy as well. The asterisk next to him is he'll be playing for Ireland.
Yeah.
I was saying to you, I think the Burgess twins might be pushing the luck this year. They've not been. George has missed quite a lot of the time with injury, and Tom started the season okay, but kind of like the South Sydney Rabbitohs as a whole have declined massively.
Yeah.
They're throwing a bit together there in the backs. Burgess has just had a poor run of things really. When everything good is done, there's been a mistake at the other end, kind of like the start of the 2015 season for him has kind of been what his start at Souths has been like. And Eden, well, we don't know how well he could go. Obviously, there's some talent there. One thing I do think is people would say, well, the forward pack looks amazing, the backs maybe not so much, and the half backs you don't quite know what you're going to get there.
Yeah.
But in terms of creativity, but people don't necessarily. I don't know if because Paul coming from the Australian background and that whether they acknowledge or respect enough some of the forward players we've got in our competition that aren't playing in the NRL. People like Chris Hill, people like Kyle Amor, people like Alex Walmsley, people like James Roby, obviously.
Yeah.
To name but few, and that's without.
Well, you've basically named quite a few of the forwards from the team that I've picked in response to the gauntlet that Paul laid down. So shall I run through that quickly and then we can see how we think they match up?
Yeah, sure.
I don't know if you had time to put one together. Okay, so I've gone for Jamie Shaw at fullback, wingers Ryan Hall and Don Manfredi, with Ryan Atkins and Carl Watkins in the centres, Sneed and Williams in the halves, front row of Chris Hill, Ryan Sutton and Danny Houghton at hooker, John Bateman and Ben Curry in the second row with Sean O'Loughlin locking the scrum, and then Walmsley, Amor, Jamie Jones Buchanan and Roby on the interchange bench. Heavily based on form.
I assume JJB is a joke.
He's doing very well this year. You chuck him in for a one-off.
He's working very hard.
I'd chuck him for a one-off. He brings a lot to the table defensively.
He's working very hard.
It was him or Carl Ablett, mate. What can I say?
I'm
looking for a new home if the Bulls go bankrupt.
I don't know what. I just don't know what you're up to with some of those picks. But
some of them. Which ones don't you know what? Which one don't you know what I'm up to?
Well, I'd be starting with Roby for a start. Anyway, it's irrelevant.
We didn't start with Roby in the last England team. We started with.
I'll start with Hodgson.
Yeah.
I'm not putting Houghton in ahead of him. Houghton's very good when there's only one marker and his forwards are absolutely ruling the roost.
You're biased this week.
He's not. He's a very good Super League player. I don't know if he's that next level up. That's my view on him.
We'll find out.
Well, I don't think we will, because we know Roby's that next level up. We know Hodgson's that next level up, and we know Clark has some sort of dynamism that none of the others can bring. If you wanted to throw that into the mix as well,
fair enough.
Anyway, that aside, the basis of your team with some similar and some different selections that you've made, but whatever, much of a muchness. I think it's every bit.
Yeah.
Every bit capable of competing with this team. Like I say, there's people like Hill, Roby, who are world-class players that just don't play for whatever reason in the NRL. If you're talking about form, I don't know why you've picked Sean O'Loughlin, if I'm totally honest, because he's not in very good form. But then again,
he saves his best for big games.
Yeah, let's hope so. He needs to get to some big games this year.
Well, that's it. The one I thought you might question was Ryan Sutton, but the more I see of this kid, the more I rate him, to be honest with you. I think he's a tremendous prospect, and I think he's probably not in the England conversation this time round, but in the next 4 or 5
the other people that I've
2
mentioned,
or 3 years, he could well be.
It is no closer to the England conversation than
Tom Burgess, for instance,
than Watts, than Taylor, than like other people around the league, I suppose.
Yeah.
You'd be looking at Gareth Ellis as well. If you're going to throw one old stager in there, it's not JJB, it's Gareth Ellis.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, there is a strength in the Super League that could compete, but maybe not as consistently. But like you say, there's too many asterisks in that NRL side.
I would say so too. Okay, Rich Wilkinson.
Was it next year though? Forward to next year, probably not Zach Hardacre unless someone wants to take a punt on him. Yeah. Possibly not Jack Reed, who there's talk about even retirement, but there's also been talk about links with deals at Salford or St Helens, hasn't there? Joe Burgess is back in Super League, Greg Eden's back in Super League. All of a sudden there's no backs to pick from other than Jordan Turner.
How do you think the Australians feel about the talent drain that's going on? All these players getting back to Super League. Do you think they're panicking?
I don't think so.
No,
but Paul might be able to get just that, and the next person we're going to talk about also has his finger on the pulse of all things down under, and that's the pimp man himself, Richard Wilkinson.
Now then, lads.
Now then, lads.
Happy Yorkshire Day, by the way, Rich. August the 1st, sir.
Yeah, no.
Happy Yorkshire Day to everyone.
I've seen that,
yeah. Could you be a bit less grumpy today?
I don't. I just think it's a little bit. I just don't get it. I just don't get the whole why you're so bothered about it.
Because we love our county.
Well, I think you're overcompensating for the fact that your county couldn't win the wars. I think that's what your issue is here. Now then, lads. The show is always awesome, but today's made me genuinely laugh at my desk. Basically, I fancy a bash at the Cushy McGilvery wing spot, Absolutely. But alas, I had to give up my Super League dream when Moz retired, as he was the only Super League player left who was older than me.
There you go.
But Tom, I haven't given up hope. There's always a chance of a cameo a la Freddie Fittler in the Auckland Nines. # squad goals. # keeping the dream alive.
There you go. We've all got to have squad goals.
Yeah.
Apparently. That feels a bit Taylor Swiftian to me. She has a squad.
Does she?
I know about Taylor Swift now.
Because your dad's big into her.
My dad's massively into Taylor Swift. I can't say to blame him, really, but it's a lot to do with my little girl, as much as anything else. Who... now really does know a lot of the words as well, which is quite weird.
She doesn't know what the sort of suggestion behind them all is, though, I assume.
No, not so much. And to be honest, I've tried to skew her to like early Taylor Swift when she was still a bit country and western, rather